Hey, a tip on how to find more of your immigrant ancestors. Now, I've spoken about this before, but I was able to find, as you can see here, I posted this on my Descendants of Carini, Sicilia, which is where mia familia are from, and I found a bunch. So, which is really, really cool. So these are World War II draft records. One of the things to keep in mind about immigrants, more so, let's say, Sicilian as opposed to my Irish ancestors, the Irish tended to speak English. So unlike with the Sicilians, there was less of a need to move to the same area. So what tends to happen with immigrants like Sicilians or Italians, they tended to move to the same neighborhoods or the same cities, like the same neighborhood, like Bensonhurst in Brooklyn, for example, near the docks. And that's and so that, yeah, the language, you had friendly people, you had a support network. So that's one of the reasons why they did that. It makes it easier for us to then do family history and find all the pieces, or a lot more pieces of the puzzle of our familia, and where they immigrated to and why. And the way these records are set up makes it really easy to be able to find those members of the family, where they moved to, and who they live near. So here, for example, this is Peter Michael Randazzo. My nome is, I am a Randazzo. And you can see here very clearly from Carini, which is really nice because they tended to put in like Palermo, which is the province. And so here it was nice. They narrowed it down. And then it gives a Louis Randazzo is the father, the padre. And this is in Michigan. So a lot of immigrants, not just Sicilian, a lot of immigrants did go to the Detroit area because of the Big Four. You had auto manufacturing. So here, which is really cool, is, and I mentioned this before, this is a collection. There's 2,185 records in this particular collection. If you can go forwards and you can go backwards. So what I suggest that you do is go through the collection. And so this is in alphabetical order. So you're going to have other Randazzos. So here we got another Peter Randazzo, but he was born in Detroit. So he could be related, but we don't know because he's born in Detroit. But here it's clear, this particular Peter, and actually Mia Bisnono, my great-grandfather, is Pietro Randazzo also. But they immigrated, thank goodness, to Brooklyn. Here's a Raymond Randazzo, Terracini. So they got a lot of connection with Terracini also. So what I was able to do going through this particular collection, I found 4. So I found Frank, I found another Frank, but very clearly here you can see Carini, which is really cool, and has his wife, Jenny. And then we have Jack Randazzo, Carini, very cool. And we have another Frank, and so this Frank is actually Jack's brother. So they have the same address, the same father, Antonino. So I was actually, to be able to find out that Peter was on my tree. I did not have this particular record yet, and I didn't have nearly as much information, but he is a 4th cugino, a 4th cousin, 2 times removed. I'm not going to go through because it's a lot, it's very time consuming. But I'm fairly certain when I go through the other 3 that they will actually be related. I know Randazzo is an extremely common name in Sicily, especially this part of Sicily. But chances are, if they're from Carini, they are going to be at least distantly, let's say, 7th cousins. And it's not just this particular record, like World War II records. So what we see here, this is a 1910 census record. And just looking at the names, so what you'll start to notice, if your family is from a particular place in Sicily or Italy or maybe France, you're going to see names that are common to that particular city. So here, this is like Terracini, Carini. It's like a roll call for Carini and Terracini. Yeah, Piazza, Palazzolo. We go down to the bottom, we have Ventimiglia. So these are names that are very common. I know, and I'll do separate videos. Almost the entire sheet for this census record are names that are very close to mia familia. So it's the same thing here. So you go and you look at the other pages for that particular neighborhood, chances are you're going to be able to find more family that way, which enables us to put together a better picture of how our family came to be. Let me know in the comments if you've done this and you've been able to find additional family.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.